Seta Unit 9, that is judiciary, and here we shall have to come across with the, while discussing the judicial system in India, we have to come across with the evolution of the judicial system in India, then the Supreme Court, then its composition and appointment, then tenure of the judges, then is your salaries and immunities. Next point of discussion is that is your jurisdictions of the Supreme Court of India. First, that is original jurisdiction. Second is your appellate jurisdiction. Third is your advisory and judicial review. And fifth point we have to discuss with the High Court, composition of the High Court and its jurisdictions. Then is your subordinate court and the power of judicial review. So all these points we have to come across with while discussing the judiciary. So as a federal setup of government, as you know, India is adopted a federal setup of government. So in a federal setup of government, the political system is based on the that is your three things basically, that is rule making, rule and enforcement, and rule interpretation, or that you may call it as your rule adjudications rather, you may say. So
Sir, if you don't mind, sir, good afternoon, sir. Could you please repeat, sir?
yes, I am repeating that, as you know, India is a federal state, and the political system is based on the constitutional government. So the function of the state, uh, we have to classify into three heads, that is rule making function, that is rule implementation functions or enforcement functions, then rule interpretation functions or rule adjudication functions. So as we are discussing the organs, that is our third organ of the government, that is judiciary, that a judiciary is that which is independent and acting as a check and balance between the arbitrary rule of the legislature and the executive power, which is essential in a constitutional government. What happened, as you know, regarding the organs of the government, there is a legislature, executive, and the judiciary. These are the most three important organs of the government. And most important organs of the government, they have to perform their specific role and functions. So here in case of India, what happened? There is no clear-cut separation of power between legislature, executive, and the judiciary. So due to overcome these difficulties, the existence of judiciary is necessary. And judiciary is the final arbiter who decides the rule made by the legislature, whether it is justiciable or not. So judiciary also serves as a tribunal in the final determination of the dispute between the union and the different units, that may be constituent units or that may be states. So there is the deadlock is to be clear of by the organs of the judiciary. So this is about the introduction part of the judiciary, that how the judiciary is necessary for the, that is your functioning of a government. Let us discuss about the evolution of the judiciary in India. What is the evolution of the judiciary? Before independence or before 26 January 1950, it was in the year 1773. It was that is judiciary in India can become traced in colonial period as many as in the year 1773, and that is the first Supreme Court came into existence in India and located in Calcutta. And then it is consisted of the that is your Chief Justice and the three judges. Subsequently, it was reduced to the two judges, and they were known as the crown. Crown. They were appointed by the crown. Sorry, and it was made king's court rather than the company's court. What happened at that time? At that time, the government was king's court, and at that time, His Majesty, the court will have jurisdiction over His Majesty and subjects. And at that time, what happened? Wherever the Supreme Court were established, the Supreme Court were established in that is your they function in Chennai, that is Madras and Bombay, and the judicial system ultimately it was the Federal Court of India was established in Delhi by the at 35. But after that is independence, the Constitution of India or the court continued to function. And after 26 January 1900, judiciary has been divided into three-tier structure, that is Supreme Court. Below that is High Court, and the lowest rank is occupied by the Session Court or your district court. These are the three-tier structure of the judicial system. And the Supreme Court of India is the highest court of law, and the Constitution says that the law declared by the Supreme Court shall be binding upon all courts within the territory of India. Or I mean to say that the whatever the Supreme Court will decides, it will be that is your binding on the all the people of India. And below the Supreme Court there is High Court, and below High Court there is district or sessions court or subordinate courts, and the minor courts also there, and small courts like that is your, you may say, that is your Gram Nyala and other courts were also there in the subordinate court. So giving importance to the judiciary in a federal system, that means Supreme Court was designed to make a final authority in the interpretation of the constitutions. What happened in a federal system? That means the that is your judiciary plays an important role. The reason is that why judiciary plays an important role? That means there is no clear-cut division of power between the legislature, executive, and the judiciary. So there is an that is your overlap of the power sometime, and the background is to be removed by the judiciary. So judiciary plays an important role in a federal system, and judicial provisions, different judicial provisions made for the country. They were the regarded as the guardian of the constitutions also, and these give attentions to the different issues of interdependence of the courts and the issues of the different judiciary group. Now we shall come to the how the Supreme Court of India, or what is the composition of the Supreme Court of India. So first and the foremost, the the Supreme Court of India, initially it was not more than 26 judges, and 26, that means that is the Supreme Court of India. They were consist of the Chief Justice and the 26 judges. That means the total number is 27. And when the Supreme Court was inaugurated, it had only 7 judges with Chief Justice. That means the totality of number is 8. So whatever it may be, the strength has risen to 26 judges, and the President of India, who appoint the who is the appointing authority of this Chief Justice of the Supreme Court in India, as well as the other judges were also the appointed on the aid and advice by the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. So this is regarding the composition of the that is your Supreme Court of India. Next is your qualification and tenure of the judges. So what is the qualification and the tenure of the judges?
Sir,
Let me
sorry for interruption. Sir, ଆପଣ କହିଲେ
yes.
26 ଜଜେସ୍ ଥିଲେ ଆଉ 1 ଚିଫ୍ ଜଷ୍ଟିସ୍, ତାପରେ କହିଲେ 6ଟା ଥିଲେ
Huh.
ତାପରେ ଗୋଟେ ଚିଫ୍ ଜଷ୍ଟିସ୍, ବୁଝିପାରିଲେନି?
Initially, whenever the Supreme Court was started, now it is 26 judges and one chief justice. That means in totality it is 27. But initially, whenever that is in 1900, that is your 50. That 26 January 1950, it was started with 7 judges and with one chief justice.
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ବୁଝିହେଲା?
ଆଜ୍ଞା thank you
Initially, that was started with 7 judges and one chief justice, but now it was running with 26 judges and that is your one chief justice, and totality that is 27. Clear?
ଆଜ୍ଞା
Next is your qualifications and the tenure. The qualification of the judges as regard the Supreme Court of India or the highest court of justice, he must be citizen of India. It is one of the most necessary qualification. It would not be given priority. He must have been working at least 5 years as a judge of a high court. This is the first important qualification for the judge of a Supreme Court. Second, he must not have been an advocate for the of a high court for a period of not less than 10 years. 10 ବର୍ଷ ସେ ନିଶ୍ଚିତ ଭାବରେ ଗୋଟିଏ ହାଇକୋର୍ଟର ଜଜ୍ ହେଇଥିବେ, advocate ହେଇଥିବେ. Then third important qualification is that he must be, in the opinion of the president, he is a distinguished jurist in the opinion of the president. This is one of the also most important qualifications for the appointment of the that is your judges of the Supreme Court. Then once appointed a judge, the tenure of the judge that is your he hold the office or the tenure of the Supreme Court judge is 65 years of age. A judge of Supreme Court may be resigns his office or removed by misbehavior or incapacity. This is the two way that either he may be resign or he may be removed by means of the misbehavior or that is your incapacity. And for the first time in the year 1991, it was moved or it involves the Supreme Court or the process of impeachment, rather you may say. This is regarded as the process of impeachment. As regard the impeachment process done in against the that is your President of India, the same process is necessary for the impeachment process of the Supreme Court of India. And for the first time in the year 1991, it was that is Mr. Justice V. Ramaswamy. It was moved against the then Chief Justice of India, that is V. Ramaswamy, and whatever it may be, it cannot be passed in the impeachment process, which was moved in the year May 1993 and failed due to the that is your two-third majority present and voting. That means 196 votes were given against him out of 401 voting, and remaining 205 were abstained. So, however, the process before the starting of this process, he has resigned from his post. This is that is your for the first time it was initiated against it. That is your Chief Justice of that is in India, that is V. Ramaswamy. So next important point is the salaries and immunities. What is the salaries and immunity? A very important element, because as you know that the Constitution of India provides the that is your independent and impartial judicial system, and to maintain the independence or the impartiality, it determines, that means salary determines a lot. So to determine the independence of the judges, it is the remunerations of the that is your judges of the Supreme Court and High Court, they are or the allowances of the judges are fixed by his to secure his independence. It is fixed, and in no condition except in financial emergency it was curtailed. And these salaries and allowances of the judges of the Supreme Court and High Court were made from the Consolidated Fund of India, which is non-votable in the Parliament. Bujhiyala? Then is your immunities. Immunities means some of the, that is your immunities are provided to the Supreme Court judges and the Chief Justice, and that is the political controversy is there. The Constitution grants them immunity from the criticism against the decision and actions made in the official capacity. That means to whatever may be the decisions made by the Supreme Court judges of the Supreme Court, they were not criticized, and while discharging their duties, and even the Parliament cannot discuss the conduct of the that is your court, except the proposal for the resolution of the removal before it. माने कहबाकू बेले खाली इम्पिचमेंट प्रोसीजर टा पार्लियामेंट रे डिस्कशन होई परिबो आउ कोनोसी प्रकार जिंस जजेस आउ दैट इज your Supreme Court judges of the Supreme Court and High Court, that is your Chief Justice, it cannot be moved. Okay, bujhiyala. Next is your jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. What is the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court? The jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, the Constitution of India defines the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court of India, and which empowers the Supreme Court regarding the function. And however, it has also provided the enlargement of the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court of India in the nature of, that is your three-way, that is original jurisdictions under Article 131 of the Constitution of India, and there is your appellate jurisdictions, then is your advisory jurisdictions. So there is three-way the Supreme Court of India perform its functions. So let us discuss about the original jurisdiction. The original jurisdictions, it covers such cases that are decided by the Supreme Court alone. That means no other court can entertain such cases, and the cases, following type of cases were dealt by the Supreme Court of India under the original jurisdictions. What are those? Dispute between union government and one or more state government. That means, as you know, India is in next chapter we shall have to discuss about the division of power. ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ block 3 ପଢିବା ସେତେବେଳେ first ତୁମର unit ଅଛି, that is your division of the power. How the division of the power is one of the most important that is your feature of the federalism. That means, as you know, there is a government for center as well as for the state. So that is the reason there is always a deadlock arise between the rules formulated by the state government as well as the central government, because there is the division of power between the union list, state list, and your concurrent list. So on the basis of that, the differences must be arise. And the first case which comes under the original jurisdiction is that dispute between union government and one or more state government. तार अर्थ है जे केउ केस गुडा को से माने ओरिजिनल जुरिसडिक्शन रे डिसाइड करिवो ना, दैट इज डिस्प्यूट बिटवीन यूनियन गवर्नमेंट एंड वन और मोर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट किंबा दैट इज योर सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, दे आर मस्ट बी द पार्टी टू द केस दैट comes under the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court of India. Then second type of cases which dealt by the Supreme Court of India under the original jurisdictions, that is dispute between union government and one or more state government on the one side and one or more state government on the other side. That means there are some laws, rules and regulations made by the central government, and which some state they may favor and other state they may disfavor. So to remove these difficulties between the different states and union, the second categories of cases were come in front of the Supreme Court of India, that will be moved under the original jurisdictions. Then dispute between two or more states, state government. Third type of cases is that dispute between two or more state government. That means nowadays, what is the dispute between going on between the that is your Chhattisgarh and Odisha? What is the dispute is going on? Which directly dealt with by the Supreme Court of India. କେଉଁ କେସ୍ ଚାଲିଛି ଏବେ ଓଡ଼ିଶା ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟ ଆଉ ଛତିଶଗଡ଼ ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟରେ?
ସାର୍ ଆପଣଙ୍କ କଥା କାହିଁକି କଟୁଛି
ଶୁଭିଲାନି?
ଆଜି? ସାର୍ ଆପଣଙ୍କ କଥା କଟୁଛି ଆଜି ଟିକେ।
କଟୁଛି? ନେଟୱାର୍କ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ୍ ଥିବ ତାହେଲେ ଆଉ।
ଆଜ୍ଞା ପ୍ରଥମରୁ କଟିଲାଣି
ଟାୱାର ତ ଫୁଲ ଅଛି।
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ଆଚ୍ଛା ଆଚ୍ଛା ଆଚ୍ଛା।
ଆପଣ କଣ୍ଟିନ୍ୟୁ କରନ୍ତୁ ସାର୍ ଚଳିବ।
ହଁ ହଁ ହଁ। ନାଇଁ ତମେ ବୁଝିପାରୁଛ ନା ନାଇଁ ମାନେ କଥା ହେଲା କୋଉ କେସଟା ଏବେ ଚାଲିଛି ମାନେ ଆମର ଷ୍ଟେଟ୍ ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟ ଥାର୍ଡ ଇସ୍ୟୁ dispute between two or more state government.
ସାର୍
Third type
ଏବେ
of cases.
ଓଡ଼ିଶାର ବି ଅଛି, ଓଡ଼ିଶାର ବେଙ୍ଗଲର ଅଛି, ଓଡ଼ିଶାର
ହଁ
ଆନ୍ଧ୍ର ସହିତ ଗୁଡାଏ
ଓଡ଼ିଶାର
ଜିନିଷ
କାହା
ଅଛି।
ସହିତ
ଆମର
ଚାଲିଛି
ପୋଲକର
ଏବେ?
ହେଲା ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଯୋଉ ଗାଁ
କାହା
କିଛି
ସହିତ ଚାଲିଛି?
ପୋଲିସ ସବୁ ମୁଁ ଜାଣିପାରୁନି ସାର୍ ସୁପ୍ରିମ କୋର୍ଟ
Basically one most important cases is going on, that is the issue of Mahanadi in between the Chhattisgarh and
Odisha.
water dispute. Odisha. Okay, ବୁଝିହେଲା? That type of cases comes under the that is your original jurisdiction. So the original jurisdictions of the Supreme Court makes a balance wheel between the Indian federalism. That means it is it has to maintain the balance in between the state government and the central government. In next chapter, we shall discuss about the division of the power and where we have to discuss how the different rules and regulations formulated by the union government as well as the state government comes become contradictory. So that is the reason why it is the judiciary which will struck down and the union law will prevail over the state law. That is the how deadlock is to be removed. And here the judiciary or the organization of judiciary, organs of the government, that is judiciary, plays an important role, and the state government which will perform an important role. So beside these cases, the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court can invoke the individual regarding the encroachment of the fundamental right. That is under Article 31 of the 32 of the Indian Constitutions. That is right to constitutional remedy. We can move for the directly to the Supreme Court of India for the implementation of the fundamental right. If anybody violates or encroached upon our fundamental right, then we may move Supreme Court directly for its implementation to issue different writs like mandamus, habeas corpus, certiorari, quo warranto, etc. So under these writs also issued by the High Court, and it was issued under Article 226 of the Constitution of India. ବୁଝିହେଲା Sunil?
ଆଜ୍ଞା
Could you getting my point?
yes sir
Hello.
yes sir can you hear
Under
me, sir?
Article 226 of the Constitution of India, it is the High Court who issue writs of habeas corpus, mandamus, quo warranto, certiorari. And under Article 32 of the Constitutions, that is constitutional remedy, the Supreme Court has the power to issue writs. And this is come under the original jurisdictions of the Supreme Court of India.
ସାର୍ ଏଟା
ବୁଝିହେଲା?
କୋଉ ଆର୍ଟିକଲ
This
ସାର୍?
type of case.
ଆର୍ଟିକଲ 332 ସାର୍?
Article 32, not 332.
ଆଜ୍ଞା
Only
ସରି
32, constitutional remedy.
ଆଜ୍ଞା
Fundamental right ଅଛି ନାଇଁ କି? Last article 32.
ଆଜ୍ଞା
That deals with the constitutional remedy, and at that time I have also stated you under Article 226, the High Court has the right to issue the different writs, and under Article 32 of the Constitution of India, the Supreme Court has the power to issue writs in the nature of habeas corpus, mandamus, quo warranto, certiorari. So all these cases come under the original jurisdictions of the Supreme Court of India. Next, we shall have to discuss about the what is appellate jurisdictions. The Supreme Court of India is the highest court of appeal in the country. Everybody knows it that Constitution of India or the Supreme Court of India or the Constitution provides the rights of appellate jurisdictions to the Supreme Court of India. That means whenever there is the judgment goes against the other party in the subordinate court, then they have the power to move to the Supreme Court of India, and it can hear appeals from the these cases which were decided already by the high courts and other tribunals accepting case trial in the court of material court खाली छाड़ी देकी बाकी सब जहाँ कोर्ट रे अच्छी माने हाई कोर्ट है कि अन्य कौन सी कोर्ट रे we can move to the Supreme Court for its implementation, and it is one of the highest court of appeal in the that is your India. And in case of military tribunals, no appeal can be made against it in the Supreme Court. Always one thing is clear, that in case of the military court, it cannot be appeal cannot be made to the Supreme Court of the India. And this appellate jurisdictions, it will three type of cases were decided under the appellate jurisdictions. First is your constitutional cases, second is your civil cases, third is your criminal cases. And the Constitution of India or the Supreme Court of India provides it can admit the appeal against the from all high courts, that is under Article 132 clause 1 of the Constitution. Under Article 132 clause 1 of the Constitution of India, it can admit appeal from the all high courts or certifies that the case involved the substantial question of law as to interpretation of the Constitution. That means such cases which are comes under the appellate jurisdiction, that means a high court certifies that the case involved substantial question of law as to interpret the provision of the Constitution. That means whenever there is anything which involves the substantial question of law and certified by the high court, that it will need for the that is your interpretation of the constitutions, that type of cases, constitutional cases, dealt directly by the that is your Supreme Court of India. And Supreme Court, by virtue of its own power, grants special leave to appeal. SLP may be filed, special leave to SL may be filed in case of the constitutional cases. Next is your civil cases. On all civil cases decided by the state high court. Hello.
Constitutional case ta bujhelani.
Constitutional cases means, say for an example, a case is come under the high court and which seems by the high court. High court देखिला जे high court को गोटे केस गला, से केस बाबदरे देखिला high court जेतेबेला देखिबा को पाउची, it involves a substantial question of law which may needs for the interpretation of the constitutions, that is directly dealt by the Supreme Court of India under the special leave appeal, or that is your grant of special leave, SLP ताकू कहा जाए. से केस रे से कोन करिवो डायरेक्टली constitutional केस जेतु कोर्ट जेतु सर्टिफाई कर दिबो, and it involves the interpretation of the constitution, so that is dealt with by the Supreme Court of India. बुझिएला?
I guess sir.
Then second is your that civil cases. Civil cases रे जो civil cases रे lower court रे माने decided ହେଇथिबो, and the appeal can be made to the Supreme Court. The same civil cases रे जदि कोनोसी केस गुटे already high court रे decide हेई सारिछि, से कोर्ट रो judgment against it तुमे Supreme Court को जाई परिबो. हला. Third is your criminal cases. This is also the same. The criminal judgment of the high court cases, appeal can be made to the Supreme Court directly, and if the high court satisfy that, the case may feed one for the appeal. It also जदि कोनोसी केस गोटे high court decide करिबो जे it was feed one for the appeal, then also we may move directly to the Supreme Court of India for the that is your under the original jurisdiction, sorry, appellate jurisdiction under Article 134 of the Constitution, which deals with the criminal cases. cases under Article 134 of the Constitution, that deals with the criminal cases, and under Article 133 of the Constitution, that is deals with the civil cases, and under Article 132 Clause 1 of the Constitution that deals with the constitutional cases. बुझिएला तीनटा जाक केस that is called the
सर आउटे रिपीट करिवे सर कथाटे
appellate
कटुतला सर
jurisdictions. We move
सर कथाटे कटुतला टिके तीनटा आर्टिकल रिपीट करिवे
constitutional cases रे हाँ मु रिपीट करूची constitutional cases रे कौन हुए अंडर आर्टिकल 132 क्लॉज 1 आमे डायरेक्टली सुप्रीम कोर्ट रे अपील करि परिबा हला बुझिएला
आज्ञा
अंडर आर्टिकल 133 सिविल केसेस रे कोनोसी केस जदि हाई कोर्ट रे डिसाइड हेछि तापर हमें सुप्रीम कोर्ट को मूव करि परिबा हला और द हाई कोर्ट thinks that it is a fit case for the Supreme Court, then we may move to the Supreme Court directly under appellate jurisdiction. बुझिएला? Then under Article 134 regarding criminal cases, also on the judgment of the High Court, then appeal can be made to the Supreme Court. Or if the High Court satisfies that it was a fit case for appeal to the Supreme Court, then we may move to the Supreme Court directly for the under the appellate jurisdiction. बुझिएला?
अच्छा सर एटा हाई कोर्ट डिसाइड करिवो
थ्री टाइप ऑफ हां
हाई कोर्ट
हां हाई कोर्ट माने हां हाई कोर्ट satisfy that Supreme Court it is a fit case for appeal in the Supreme Court. That is decided by the High Court. That is comes under the appellate jurisdiction. किंबा High Court रे गुटे केस decided already हे सारी थिबो माने गुटे पार्टी हारी थिबो गुटे पार्टी जीती थिबो से नियति भाबरे हायर कोर्ट को जीवो फॉर द इम्प्लीमेंटेशन अगेंस्ट द रूल फ्रेम अगेंस्ट हिम बुझी होची तो
थैंक यू
हां सेटा हला माने बोध आवाजटा कटुची ताई सेति पे माने टिके डिफिकल्ट होची आज नै की
आज्ञा
हां कोन करबा नेटवर्क प्रॉब्लम
एबे टिके भलो आसु सर एबे टिके भलो आसु सर
एबे हां से नेटवर्क प्रॉब्लम एपोर्ट सपोर्ट हेले तम तो हेबो कोन करबा नेक्स्ट इज आवर advisory jurisdictions beside original and the appellate jurisdictions. The Supreme Court of India also the advisory jurisdiction, and under Article 143 of the Constitution, the President of India under Article 143 he may refer to the Supreme Court any question of law or fact of public importance for its opinion. Already we have already discussed about the power and functions of the President, and under 143 of the Constitution of India, the President of India refer any matter to the Supreme Court for a that is your which involves the question of law or for the public importance. The reference can be made by the President of India in any matter under Article 143 with regard to safeguard the that is your or seek the in opinion of the Supreme Court regarding any question of law. That is called that is your advisory jurisdiction, and some of the important references were made by the court by the President, where regarding for example the Kerala Education Bill, then there are so many other issues while the President made that is your advisory jurisdiction under which then is your regarding this issue also some many a times the President of India, that is regarding Babri Masjid issue, regarding that is your Ram Janmabhoomi issue. Nowadays it was already been cleared by the Supreme Court of India, but before clearance the many presidents they have refer the cases that is your seeks the advice of the Supreme Court of India regarding the different rules and regulations. Then is your next point of our discussion is That is what is that?
सर आपन को लागेनी कि मु आपनकर गोटे ओपिनियन जाना चाहूतली जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट रे जो
हाँ कौन
केस वाला फाइट होउची कि तांकर जो सिलेक्शन
हाँ
होउची सर जतला कोशिश करो जेतेबेले एबे तांकर बीजेपी एनडीए ता समय करूची कांग्रेस ता समय करूची सबले स्टेट रे जो सब अछंती हमरो हाई कोर्ट अछंती सी सबले स्टेट गवर्नमेंट फॉर जिवे आउ तापर जो हर्डिक देबे आ कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट जहाँ जेतेबेले दबो से तांकर जो यूनियन गवर्नमेंट जी थो तांको फॉर देबे माने आपन लागुनी कि एटा पॉलिटिकली टिके दिनस केटा बायस भी अछि
नहीं ସେଇଟା ମାନେ we cannot say completely, but as you know, the aid and advice of the prime minister is always an important factor in the appointment of the judges of Supreme Court and High Court. Till today there is no partiality is being made. ଏଠି ତ ଅଛି ବହୁତ ଗୁଡା କେସ୍ ମୁଁ ଉଦାହରଣ ଦେଇପାରିବି ହେଲା ଏକ୍ସାମ୍ପଲ ଦେଇପାରିବି which were goes against the Supreme Court also. Sorry, goes against the union government, not Supreme, goes against the
आज्ञा
union government and some of the state government also. There are so many cases. But we think that no doubt in somewhere or somehow the power were enforced by the each and every. That means you know what Lord Acton says: power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Nowadays the situation is so that ଆମକୁ ଲାଗିବ କି ନା it will favor the union government and state government will favor by the that is your High Court of India, sorry High Court of the Odisha.
आज्ञा
সেটা লাগে কিন্তু বট কথা ହେଲା they are also, we cannot make them question. I have already stated you there in the beginning. ଆମେ ତାଙ୍କର decision କୁ challenge କରିପାରିବା ନାହିଁ ନା সেটা কোন হଉଛି কোন নেই, that is another thing. Politically we cannot go to the detail, but sometimes it may seems like that.
आज्ञा थैंक यू
Many a times also it goes against the union government. ଯେମିତି ମାନେ ବୋଫୋର୍ସ ଗନ୍ ଡିଲ୍ ହେଇଛି, there are so many cases
आज्ञा थैंक यू
where the Supreme Court has given their view. ବୋଫୋର ଗନ୍ସ ଡିଲ୍ ରେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ରାଜୀବ ଗାନ୍ଧୀ ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟ ଥିଲା ତା ଏଗେନ୍ଷ୍ଟ ସୁପ୍ରିମ କୋର୍ଟ ଜଜମେଣ୍ଟ ଦେଇଛି many a times. ବୁଝି ହଉଛି ତ?
आज्ञा थैंक
ସେ
यू सर
ସମୟରେ ରାଜୀବ ଗାନ୍ଧୀ ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟ ଥିଲା କିନ୍ତୁ ସେ ମାନେ ବୋଫୋର୍ସ ଗନ୍ ଡିଲ୍ କଲା ପରେ ବି ତାପରେ ବି ମାନେ ସୁପ୍ରିମ କୋର୍ଟ ତା ଏଗେନ୍ଷ୍ଟ ଜଜମେଣ୍ଟ ଦେଲା କି ସେଇଠି ମାନେ ଦେୟାର ଇଜ ମନି ଲଣ୍ଡରିଂ ଅର ସମଥିଙ୍ଗ ଇଜ ଗୋଇଂ ରଙ୍ଗ in dealing with the that is your deal. Many a times it was criticized by the Supreme Court of India. Nowadays also the Supreme Court of India is criticizing the activity of the union government. Whether if you gone through the details of the newspaper today, ଦେଖିଥିବ ଆଜି criticize କରିଛି Supreme Court of India. The Madras High Court also criticizing the role of the union government
सर
in
एमाने
the
लेट रे
solution of
करले
pandemic.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट बहुत लेट रे करे
Whatever it may be, whatever it may be, ultimately we come to the that is conclusion whether it has been made by or not. କାରଣ କୋର୍ଟ ହଉଛି ଗୋଟେ ଏମିତି ଅର୍ଗାନାଇଜେସନ ତାକୁ ଯେଉଁ ଦିନ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ତମେ ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷକୁ ଦେଖେଇବ ନାହିଁ ସେଦିନ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ସେ ଅନ୍ଧ ହେଇକି ଥିବ. Until and unless it will be shown by the people, it will put his eye closed to everything. ଆମେ କଥା ହେଲା କୋର୍ଟରେ କିପରି ଜିନିଷ ଗୁଡାକ ଡିସାଇଡ କରାଯାଏ ଯାହା ଆମେ କହୁ ସେ ଉପରେ କୋର୍ଟ ଡିସାଇଡ କରେ. ଆମେ ନ କହିଲା କଥା ଉପରେ ସେ କୋର୍ଟ ଡିସାଇଡ କରେ କି? କୋର୍ଟ will take the record all these things whatever we say, ସେଟାକୁ ନେଇକି ସେ ଡିସିଜନ ଦିଏ. ଆଉ ଯୋଉ କଥାଟା ଇନହେରେଣ୍ଟ ଥିବ ତ ସେଟା ଇନହେରେଣ୍ଟ ହେଇକି ରହିଯିବ. କଥା ହେଲା ସେଇଟା ନା. ଆଉ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ତ କୁହାଯାଏ ମାନେ ଗୋଟେ ଲୟର୍ସ କୁ କିମ୍ବା ଗୋଟେ ଡାକ୍ତରକୁ ଠକିବା କଥା ନୁହଁ. ହଁ ବୁଝି ହଉଛି ନା ନାଇଁ? So let us come to our discussions regarding the High Court. High Court ବାବଦରେ ତୁମର ତ ବେଶୀ ମାନେ ଏଥିରେ ଷ୍ଟଡି ମେଟେରିଆଲ ରେ କିଛି ଦଉନି. whatever it may be, there is ମାନେ subordinate court ରେ ଆମେ ଯଦି ଦେଖିବା there is High Court and the constitution provide High Court for the state apex court of judiciary in the state level, and chapter 5th and 6th of, that is your from article 14 to 231 of the constitutions contain the provisions regarding the organization and function of the high court. And by this provision, article 125 says that there shall be a high court for each state, but in certain states also, for two or more states also, there is one high court we have seen, like Punjab and Haryana, common high court is there. Then similarly, there is one high court for Assam, Nagaland, Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh. They have their common high court. Kintu Constitution of India, that is under article 125, says that there shall be a high court for each state. Kintu due to the some, that is your problems of the constitution, that is your central government, they have established single high court for the, that is your Punjab and Haryana, like state like Punjab and Haryana. Then is your state like, that is your Assam, Nagaland, Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh. Then that is your northeastern states, whatever you may say. So in case of union territory also, the parliament have the extended the jurisdictions of the high court. The composition of the high court, regarding the composition of the high court, the Supreme, unlike Supreme Court of India, as we have fixed the judges, there is no minimum number of the judges for the high court. The president from time to time will fix the number of the judges in each high court. It will, there is no fixing of, that is your amount, number of the judges of the high court. It will differ from time to time, and which will be based on the, that is the workload of the high court. And the chief justice of the high court is appointed by the president of India, consulting with the chief justice of the Supreme Court, and they were appointed by the through a collegium system. Collegium system the judges would have appointed huanti, and which senior judges of the apex court were also recommended the name of the appointment of the different judges. And next is your tenure of the judges of the high court is 62 years until they attain the age of 62. They hold the office of the as a judge of the high court, and he can vacate the seat by resignation. And the same process also it includes for the removal of the judges, that is called the process of impeachment through the proved misbehavior or incapacity. And in the same manner, where the Supreme Court of the judges of the Supreme Court were removed. Then it is also the jurisdictions of the Supreme High Court is that the power to issue writs, as I have already stated you, under Article 226 of the Constitution of India, for the, that is your enforcement of the fundamental right, that is High Court has the power to issue writs in the nature of habeas corpus, mandamus, querento, certiorari, and then the power of superintendent all over the courts of the tribunal, except those dealing with the armed forces. High Court is also the, that is your superintendent all over the courts of the tribunal, except that is your armed forces. Then it can frame the rules and issue the instructions and guidance from time to time to speedier the issues in the lower court. Then third important thing is that the power of transfer of cases from the subordinate court is concerning with the interpretation of the Constitution. It is also deals with by the that is your High Court of the states. And then subordinate court jodi ame kahiba, in district there is district court, there is lower court, additional district court, sub court, mun sub court, then is your the municipal magistrate court, court of special judicial magistrate, court of first class judicial magistrate, court of second class judicial magistrate, court of special judicial magistrate, municipal magistrate. There are so many lower courts in the subordinate courts. And ultimately we come to the last point of our discussions, that is judicial review. Kahinki na ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ unit तुमको କହିବାର ଅଛି, that is division of power between center and state. ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ମୁଁ ଆଉ ବେଶୀ ଡିଟେଲ କୁ ଯାଉନି, ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ କହିଦଉଛି ଜୁଡିସିଆଲ ରିଭ୍ୟୁ। ଜୁଡିସିଆଲ ରିଭ୍ୟୁରେ ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ କହିବି, Indian Supreme Court is supreme because it has the power to make interpret law or law made by the that is your parliament declared by the Supreme Court of India as the ultra vires or doctrine of judicial review. That means in its capacity, the Supreme Court of India, the Supreme Court possesses the power to pronounce, in its opinion, the legality of the law made by the central or the state legislature. That means the doctrine of judicial review or the power of the judicial review, the court can declare an act of the legislature or executive by the executive act by unconstitutional. That means the constitutional that is a law made by the parliament, which the judiciary has the power to declare the law made by the parliament as ultra vires or unconstitutional. যে সুপ্রিম কোর্টর ক্ষমতা ଅଛି যে পার্লামেন্ট যদি কোনসি নীতি নিয়ম করিছি and that will go against the that is your provision of the constitution, then the Supreme Court of India has the power to make the law as declare the law as the ultra vires. And this is all about your judicial system. Next we shall have to discuss about the division of that is your block that is your block 3. Today discuss about the block 3 unit 10, that is about the division of power between the center and the state, or that is your yes, division of power between the center and the state. And how the division of power between center and state took place, the here we have to come through the points like the division of power between the center and the state, central government and the state government, then division of power between the that is different list, that is union list, state list, concurrent list, then is your residuary power, then administrative and financial distribution of power. And before going to discussions in a federal structure, যেহেতু সময় কম ଅଛି ମୁଁ କମ ହିସାବରେ କହି ଦଉଛି এই ଚ୍ୟାପ୍ଟରଟା ହେଲା, କାହିଁକି ନା ଆମର ଖାଲି ଆଉ ଲାଷ୍ଟ ଖାଲି ଗୋଟିଏ କ୍ଲାସ୍ ଅଛି, ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ବେଶୀ ଡିସ୍କସନ୍ ଆଉ କରୁନି। ଜୁଡିସିଆରୀଟା ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାଣ୍ଟ ଥିଲା ତମର, ବାକି ଗୁଡାକ କାରଣ ଏମର୍ଜେନ୍ସି वी हैव ऑलरेडी स्टडीड इन द प्रेसिडेंट, तुमर 11 नंबर चैप्टर ना कोटा गुटे अछि एमरजेंसी प्रोविजन अछि, सेटा को मु आ डिस्कशन करबी नाही हला, काहे कि ना प्रेसिडेंट हमें पढिला बेले ऑलरेडी वी हैव डिस्कस ऑल दिस पॉइंट डिटेल, तो सेदी पई कहि दोछि that is your center state relations or that is your division of power. So the division of power basically made between the center and state government, and this is one of the basic feature of the federalism, because in a federal structure মানে বুঝিছ না নাই সংঘীয় ব্যবস্থা, there is on the one hand there is central government and on the other hand there is the state government. So there is a division of power in relating to the rule making function, that is there is union list and state list and your concurrent list, and in case of the union list that consists of the 97 atom, and where the union government has the power to make different rules and regulations. And in case of the state list, the different atom enumerated in the state list, the state government has the final authority to make hello कौन कहूछ
କିଛି ନାହିଁ ସାର୍,
ସସ୍ମିତା,
କିଛି ନାହିଁ ସାର୍।
हेलो
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍,
हाँ कौन कहूछ
ସାର୍ ଟିକେ ଶୁଭୁନି କ୍ଲିୟର।
हाँ सेटा पूरा नेटवर्क आज केमती गोटे प्रोब्लेम अछि बोधे, सेठी पई तो शुभुनी स्टार्टिंग रो माने मो तो नेटवर्क फुल रे अछि, कोन होची प्रॉब्लम शुभुनी, वीडियो तो ठीक अछि बोधे, टोन ता तो सुबिवा कथा।
सर आपण टिके डिस्कनेक्ट करिकि रिकनेक्ट कर देबे बदे ही पारे
ना डिस्कनेक्ट कोन करबा, 10 मिनिट अछि डिस्कनेक्ट करबानी, सेठी रेकॉर्डिंग चली छी, सेटा कॉल डिस्कनेक्ट करि हेबनी हला, छाड़ंतु सेटा कथा लागे। यूनियन लिस्ट रे यूनियन गवर्नमेंट इज पावरफुल टू मेक लॉ atom enumerated in the union list. State government state list state government has the power to make law under the state list, which consists of the 66 atom, and on the concurrent list, both the central government and the state government has the power to make law, which consists of the 47 items. And under this, both central government and the state government has the power to make law. Union list, union government. कौन कहल?
ସାର୍ ରିସେଣ୍ଟ ୟୁନିୟନ ଲିଷ୍ଟରେ କେତେଟା ସବଜେକ୍ଟ ଉପରେ ଇଏ କରାଯାଉଛି?
कौन आउची?
ୟୁନିୟନ ଲିଷ୍ଟରେ କେତେଟା ସବଜେକ୍ଟ ଉପରେ ଏବେ ଇଏ କରାଯାଉଛି?
97 item union list. State list 66 item, double six. And your concurrent list, that is 47 item. Hello.
ସାର୍ କନକରେଣ୍ଟ ଲିଷ୍ଟରେ ବୋଥ ସେଣ୍ଟର ଆଣ୍ଡ ଷ୍ଟେଟ୍?
State government, they have the power to make rules and regulations. Okay. But in concurrent list, what happens? If the state law is made prior to the central law, then the state law will prevail. Or if the law made by the central government is prior to the state law, then state law, central government law will be prevail. बुझीगला ना नहीं? जदि कोनोसी राज्य सेही मैटर रे केंद्र सरकार नीति नियम प्रणयन पूर्व नीति नियम प्रणयन कर दे सारी चंदी ताहले द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट रूल्स विल प्रिवेल इन दिस concurrent list. And in आउ जदि करी नाहंती ताहले central law will prevail over the state law. बुझीगला? Concurrent list. Our state list, state government is powerful to make rules and regulations, and in case of the union list, that is union government is powerful to make necessary rules and regulations. This is about the, that is your making of the rules and division of the power between the center and the state. So in a federal structure, the division of power, union list consists of 97 items, as I have stated you, that is union list, the item like defense, armed forces, arm and ammunition, atomic energy, foreign affairs, war, peace, citizenship, extradition, then is your railway, shipping, navigations, airways. These are come under the post office, post and telegraph, telephone. These are come under the, that is your union list. And here union law will prevail, and union government is the supreme. That means here the development took place by the union government, and rules and different rules and regulations were formulated by the union government. And in case of the state list, the state consists of, that is 66 items, and here the some important things were, that is your public order, police, administration. Yes. That is 97, 66 and year 47. Yes. Then that is your in case of state list like public order, police, administration of justice, prisons, local government, public health, sanitation, education, agriculture, animal husbandry, water supply and irrigations. These are the different items which are enumerated in the state list, and the state government has the power to make different rules and regulations. And what are the items that comes under the concurrent list, which consists of 47 items? These items were, that means it is desirable that union government law will prevail over the state law. Then it includes, the list includes the item like marriage and divorce, transfer of property other than the agricultural land, contracts, bankruptcy, then insolvency, trustee, trusts, civil procedure, contempt of court, adulteration, foodstuffs, drugs and poisons, economic and social planning. These are the different items which are enumerated in the concurrent list, and both the state government and the central government has the power to make law. Then residuary power. Residuary power are powers to legislate on the issue which are not mentioned in the free list. It is residuary power means it is the power to legislate on issue which are not mentioned in this free list. State list पे का mention नहीं, concurrent list पे भी mention नहीं, आओ that is your union list भी mention नहीं जहाँ सब आसियो that is residuary power and in India residuary power vested in the union government and union government has the power to make rules and regulation under the residuary provision or legislation and under Article 249 of the Indian Constitution provide Rajya Sabha, which we have already discussed, on the national interest to make different rules and regulations under the atom enumerated in the state list under 249 of the Constitution of India under the national interest, as I have already stated you while we are discussing with the special power of the Rajya Sabha. মনে হচ্ছে না নেই মনে পড়ুছি তো স্পেশাল পাওয়ার যেতেবেলে আমি ডিসকশন করছিলাম রাজ্যসভার সে সময় আর্টিকেল 249 under which comes under the that is your national interest. So Rajya Sabha passes a law and that is will prevail over the state list. So next is your Article 250, that means empower the parliament to make law on the any atom included in the state list for whole or part of it. Article 250 also provides that the parliament empowers to make law on any atom included in the state list, and which is maximum period for which law can enforce for a period of, that means that is your emergency provision under Article 256 also. 256 रे भी जेतेबेले emergency provision होची से समय रे मध्य the state law will not exist and all the central law will prevail over the state law. Then under Article 253, Parliament has the power to legislate law for the whole or any part of the state implementing the treaty agreement. ଯେତେବେଳେ treaty agreement होची ଆଉ ତାକୁ implement करा जाउची से समय रे मध्य the central government has the power to make law over the state. बुझियला? So these are the some of these cases while dealing with the that is your residuary power of the union government. Then is your Sarkaria Commission. What is Sarkaria Commission? Justice R.S. Sarkaria is the Chief Justice of India to review the scope of the working of the constitutional provision on the center-state relations and submit a report on the 27th October 1987. That is residuary power rest with the center and recommended for establishment of interstate council under Article 263 of the Constitution and intergovernmental council under Article 268 of the Indian Constitution. Sarkaria Commission kono kala se recommend kala kana kono na residuary power rest with the central government and he recommended to establish a interstate council under Article 263 and intergovernmental council under Article 268 of the Constitution of India. Then comes to the that is your administrative and financial distributions of power. Say also administrative financial distribution means financial emergency samayare. Say for an example, in case of the financial emergency, the union government has the power to make law with regard to the finance. That is under Article that is your 292, which authorizes union government to borrow upon the security of the consolidated fund of India.
फाइनेंशियल इमरजेंसी केतेबेले लागू हुए फाइनेंशियल इमरजेंसी केतेबेले लागू हुए
if the president is satisfied that whereby the credit of India or finance, that is your financial emergency, whenever there is the credit of India is exceeding, at that time the financial emergency implemented by the President of India. Financial emergency ମୁଁ तुमको ସେଦିନ କହିନଥିଲି କି? If the President is satisfied that whereby a situation is arising that the the credit of India or that is your ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ କଣ ୱାର୍ଡ ଟା ଅଛି ତା ମୁଁ ଭୁଲି ଯାଉଛି ମୁଁ କହୁଛି ର ଗୋଟେ ମିନିଟ ସେ ୱାର୍ଡ ଟା ହେଲା ଯେ ଲେଡିଜ yes financial emergency. Yes, the financial emergency means if the president is satisfied that a situation is arising whereby the financial stability or credit of India or any part thereof is threatened, he may proclaim the state of फाइनेंशियल इमरजेंसी केतेबेले लागू हेबो ना क्रेडिट टा जेतेबेले बढ़ी जीवो हला से समय रे यदि प्रेसिडेंट सैटिस्फाई है फाइनेंशियल इमरजेंसी डिक्लेयर करिवे आ से समय रे मु तुमको कहितली जे व्हेनेवर द ऑल द लेजिस्लेशन रिगार्डिंग टू द फाइनेंस मैटर वर स्टॉप and the salaries of the union and the state government servants may be reduced and the money bill of the state legislature may be reserved for the presidential considerations. So in this way, the financial, that is your power, is to be that is your provision of the financial relations between the union state is to be established.
सर मोर गोटे डाउट थिला
last
आपण जो कहिथिले
हाँ
सर आपण जो
हाँ
कहिथिले
कुह
कि फाइनेंशियल इमरजेंसी आपण गोटे पूर्व क्लास रे आपण हिंट देथिले कि कोरोना रे प्राय स्टेट माने तांकर सैलरी रा अधा करिसंती तांकर सब सरकारी एम्प्लॉई मानकर तेणु आपण गोटे एग्जांपल दउथिले मु
हाँ
मु आपण गोटे पचेरा चाहिबी सर आपनकर ओपिनियन कोन जोटा हमर 2016 नवेम्बर रे जो डीमोनेटाइजेशन हेतिला सेतरे इन्फ्लेशन टा बहुत लोकर
हाँ
हाहाकार हेतिला सारा भारत वर्ष रे एबी ताको लोक क्रिटिसाइज करसंती तेणु ସେଇଟା କୁ ଆପଣ କଣ କହିବେ
हाँ
फाइनेंशियल इमरजेंसी ना ସେଇଟା ସାଇନ୍ ହେଇନଥିବ ପ୍ରେସିଡେଣ୍ଟ ଙ୍କ ଦ୍ୱାରା
no, that is not the financial emergency. It is one. It is only a process of the government to control the entry of that is your money. That is your unlawful money, and they wanted to revise the financial situations. To what extent it was implemented, or to what extent it was full, that is fruitful, it cannot be made into consideration. फाइनेंशियल इमरजेंसी टा कहबाकू हेले जेतेबेले क्रेडिट ऑफ इंडिया और एनी पार्ट देयर ऑफ हैज बीन क्रिएटेड माने इंस्टेबिलिटी हेबो इंस्टेबिलिटी तो होइनी ए पर्यंत
सर आपण
फाइनेंशियली
जो कहउछंती क्रेडिट
आजिरो
कहउछंती
डेट रे तुमे देखो
सॉरी सर सॉरी
हाँ
फॉर इंटरप्शन सर आपण जो क्रेडिट टा कहले
हाँ
सर सेटा कोन देशर जो फॉरेक्स टा कमी जीवो कि इंटरनेशनल बैंक रु बेसी टंका आनिबो सेटा को आपण कहउछंती ना ना इन्फ्लेशन टा कहउछंती ओवरऑल टा
ना क्रेडिट ऑफ इंडिया वेल इन माने द फाइनेंशियल स्टेबिलिटी दैट मींस
आज्ञा
जेतेबेले माने कथा हला जे एबे को गोटे स्टेट रो माने तो मने करि पारुनी तार दे हैव इश्यू माने 10 lakhs rupees note or something मु जहाँ मने करूची किछि दिन पूर्व होई दिला था पेपर रे मु पढी दिली due to the that is your instability in the financial situation ସେମାନେ ବହୁତ ବଡ଼ ବଡ଼ ନୋଟ୍ ଇସ୍ୟୁ କରିଛନ୍ତି କୋଉଟେ कंट्री स्मॉल कंट्री ମାନେ ସେଟା ମୁଁ ମନେ କରି ପାରୁନି ସେ कंट्रीର ନାଁଟା that is the financial instability what is going on today in case of the Pakistan that is called the financial instability
सर बड़ बड़ नोट ईरान इश्यू
कोरोना
करछि
पीरियड रे
रिसेंटली
जाओ
वेनेजुएला ईरान करछंती वेनेजुएला
हाँ
ईरान
हाँ बड़ नोट से फाइनेंशियल इंस्टेबिलिटी पाई सेमानकर माने बिकॉज देयर इज हाई प्राइस हाइक इन
आज्ञा
द गुड्स एंड
अमेरिका सैंक्शन
कमोडिटी
ପାଇଁ आज्ञा सर
सेठी पे हाँ हाँ हाँ
सर आउ
सेठी
गोटे
पे
प्रश्न
माने
थिला
से
सर
जिंस गुड़ा
आपण जो
करा
आपण आउ जो गोटे प्रश्न थिला आपण
हाँ
जो कहिले कि यूनियन लिस्ट रे अछि 97 टा स्टेट लिस्ट अछि 66 टा आउ तबर कॉन्करेंट रे अछि 47
हाँ
सर एटा कोन किछि नाही लॉ नाही
हाँ
कि जुडिशियरी सिस्टम नाही कि एटा भी अमेंडमेंट रे आसी परिबो कि एटा भी चेंज नाही यूनियन के नाही मोर अधिकार दरकार एमति किछि चेंज हेनी आज पर्यंत ना आपण जो क्वेश्चन पर अपडेटेड
ना चेंज आज पर्यंत तो हेनी कहीं ना एमेंडमेंट तो से विषय रे हेनी मु तो जानिनी एमेंडमेंट खाली जो गोटे हितिला जे जहाँ मु माने मने रखिछि से यूनियन लिस्ट रे बोध 2000 रे ना केते रे हेछि सेटा कोटा गोटे हेतिला मोर माने एग्जैक्टली मने पडुनी
आज्ञा
2000 रे कोठी गोटे एमेंडमेंट हेतिला तर यस दैट इज कोठी हेतिला गोटे गोटे एमेंडमेंट हेछि सेटा से एमेंडमेंट अभी एक तक मने पूरी पार नहीं रो कोठी गोटे आई हैव मेंशन वन ऑफ द अमेंडमेंट
ओके सर
सेठी गोटे अमेंडमेंट हेतिली माने से यस 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 that is your
ଗୋଟେ ତ
10th financial commission amendment based on the recommendation of the 10th finance commission a scheme of the sharing of taxes between union and the states has been enacted by the 88th amendment act 2000 hala
आज्ञा
ସାର୍ ଏବେ ତ
by
ଗୋଟେ
this
ଗୋଟେ
amendment act there is the
ସାର୍
Hello?
ଏବେ ତ ବହିରେ ଆନୁଆଲ ଲିଷ୍ଟରେ 99 ଟା ସବଜେକ୍ଟ ରହୁଛି।
ତମ ବହିରେ 99 ଦେଇଛି ଏବେ ରିସେଣ୍ଟଲି?
ରିସେଣ୍ଟଲି ନାଇଁ, ଯେତେବେଳେ ପଢୁଥିଲୁ +2 ସେତେବେଳେ ବହିରେ ଆମର ଥିଲା 99 ସବଜେକ୍ଟ।
ପୁରୁଣା ବହି ହେଇଥାଇପାରେ ସାର୍, ଅପଡେଟ ହେଇନଥିବ।
ନା ନା ସେ ହଁ 97 ଆଟମ୍ସ ଅଛି। ତାକୁ ଦେଖିକି ତମର ସେ ଷ୍ଟଡି ମେଟେରିଆଲ ଥିବ ନାଇଁ କି? ଷ୍ଟଡି ମେଟେରିଆଲ ତ ଥିବ ନା?
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ସେଇଟା ଇଣ୍ଟରଚେଞ୍ଜେବଲି ଚେଞ୍ଜ ହଉଥାଏ। ସେ ଆମେଣ୍ଡମେଣ୍ଟ ଟା ମୁଁ ଏବେ ରିସେଣ୍ଟ 2000 ର ହେଇଛି ଯୋଉ କହିଦେଲି ହେଲା, ରିଗାର୍ଡିଂ ଦ ଟ୍ୟାକ୍ସ ମ୍ୟାଟର ହେଲା। ଆଉ କିଛି ଡାଉଟ୍?
ନାଇଁ ସାର୍, ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ ସାର୍।
ଓକେ ଓକେ, ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ।